Now, so the topic today is just EMI and bilingual education. My name is Chen Yu. Yes, okay, so please pay attention to my name. It's Chen Yu, not Chen Yu Ling. It's a very long story. Yeah, I will mention about that in the future. That's really important for language expression or language presentation. We always need to recognize that language got a lot of functions for communication and also for identity. That's really important. So I will introduce why I got this word and what should be the relationship between what I want to mention in the future. So next, actually we got a lot of program around us. Since you are in the future, as you are high school teachers, you've got a lot of chances or opportunities to delivery or give lectures in English. So that's really important if you've got this kind of competency or certificate. It would help you a lot. Yeah, my first question is, how do you think about this slide? If you've got this information, so what's your opinion about all the information on this slide? So please think about that. In minutes, okay? Yeah. According to the information of Statista 2024. So what are your thoughts about that? Do you know what's Hindi? Hindi is a kind of language. Okay. The size and the number of Hindi is so large. So would you please try to guess what should be that kind of language and who speak that language? Try to guess.
I guess it's the mention that the speakers in India.
Yeah, India. Okay. So, what are your thoughts about this information? How do you think about this? What's the number of the size? And what's the number of this size? How can you convince and how can you persuade your future students? English is so important. If your students, they just took out this information for you, that it's not important. It's not beyond, it's not more than 20%. What would you say in the future? Following that, I'd like to put down several words for you. For economic reason, okay, my question is, what is the real component of the 20% for English spoken main? Please consider about the economic reason for what's the component of all these parts, even they are not more than 20%. Okay, yeah. If students are not well informed or students cannot understand what I mean, what should I do? I would try other questions for my student. Okay, I would ask my students, please think about that. Who are they?
Trump. Joe Biden.
Donald Trump, Joe Biden,
Elon
Musk, and also,
Jason Ho.
who are they? Following this question, I got another question is, what are their social background? So would you please try to consider about these questions and think more about that number, even not more than 20%. Okay, so please talk to your classmates and think more about that. 这句较歹了解，
对啊，
所以我就甲这句换做下骹这两句。OK， So that's just a kind of method for instruction. If students cannot understand, we should use other terms for them. That's just a very well-skilled way for EMI or bilingual teaching. Okay? So I just use that for you. Okay, so please think about that and discuss with your classmates. Not only this part, we should ask ourselves for the same question for this part. What should be the component of the spoken Spanish? And what should be the component of spoken French? And what should be the component of Arabic? Okay, each languages, we always need such kind of question to try to analyze what should be the component of it. Who are they? And what are their social background? Okay, like my original question is, actually, English spoken in the world, not more than 20%, right? That could not be general, according to Mr. Ng and also Shi Yu. But now I just want to ask the question, even, or actually that's not more than 20%, but why it is so important for our class, or why we need to discuss about the most spoken languages in the world? The most spoken? Important? How can I convince or how can I persuade my students to study English? Okay, so that just got some hints here to think about this. If you don't get any idea, please try to compare all the components. So what should be the social background who speak Arabic? What should be the social background of all the people speaking French? Or what should be the component of all the people speaking Spanish? So can you get the idea and try to say something about that? Okay, actually we only have not more than 20%, but actually if they want to get a higher social background or if they want to earn more money, English stands for a very important role in their career planning. Now, I would like to look back for all this process. Firstly, I only have 2 sentences here. I just remind you for economic reason. And my question is, what should be the component of that part? That is a little bit too academic for students. They could not understand what I mean. So I got a strategy here. I translate this sentence into 2 questions. The first one is, who are they? And also, what are their social background, to remind students to provide and scaffolding for students to understand what I mean here. So you will find that actually this kind of question is not useful in our classroom for students. So we only need these 2 questions. Actually, we don't use this sentence for students. If they could not understand, we should provide more questions for scaffolding for students. Okay, especially for bilingual education in the classroom, we should use this kind of strategy. So would you please try to look back the process and what's your opinion about the discussion here? Who would like to get the conclusion before we will move on to the next slide? Since you just provide a general reason for a general case, and English is general. So what's your reflection about that? Yeah. Okay, so for business reason and economic reason, we need to study a lot of different languages in the world. And now we got the conclusion here. English, even it's not spoken in not more than 20% in the world, but it's truly important just because the component is much different from other languages. So we just try to translate this sentence into these two questions. What the components should be, who are they? What are their social background? Or could they earn more money? That could be a very important skill in your future classroom communication. If I don't want to express like this or too academic way, we could translate my sentence into other questions for my future students and also for my colleagues or my classrooms. Okay, so you mean that actually this reason is not so important and it's not so, well, it's not so important related to all your future students, right? Okay, of course. So that's just why I ask 20% is a general. I think it's the size of the population is not big enough for us or for my students, because most of our students, they don't speak English, but they could earn a lot of money. Yeah, but we just want to discuss about, we just need to get such kind of reflection, think about the background story. That's why we study IB here for International Baccalaureate. We always need to try to conduct such kind of discussion in our classroom. Your students need to get more reflection about any topics in the world. Okay, that's why we need to discuss about this, because all the media, other teachers, they always told you that English is so important. How important? Yeah. So we need evidence and discuss about that and get a reflection now. That could be a very important critical thinking about this. That truly important for International Baccalaureate course. Okay. Thank you very much. And let's move back to the next slide. So please look at this diagram as for this chart. And who would like to be the next moderator now to conduct discussion about this? See this information here, languages most frequently used for web content as of January 2024. Okay, so what did you see here? Disconnect. Actually, in front of Chinese, we got a lot of languages here. I just cut it here. Okay? Yeah. So it's not the real ranking here. So how to think about that? According to YouTuber. So did you have any idea about the ranking of the YouTuber in different languages? Do you have more ideas? So what's the number of that subscribed number for all the YouTubers in the world? So that's really important. If you want to become a YouTuber, language should be a very important point for you and also for money. Okay. So how do you think about that? For special purpose, if you read English or if you read information in English, it could help us to get more precise knowledges and also, well, cutting edge knowledges or cutting edge information, right? If people want to communicate or get to conduct any communication, English should be the most frequently used language in the world, right? That's really important for the previous information here. But actually, we only have not more than 20% of, well, English speaking men in the world. But why we have, well, such a high percentage for a website? Okay, thank you very much. of course, actually, is the information here is reliable? That could be another question. Okay, but actually, as the information shown here, that could be a very important point for our future study. So, because of such kind of social media, like Facebook, Meta, X, or other kinds of Instagram, or other kinds of social media. So English are prevailing on any kind of social media or big social media in the world.
Yeah.
But I think TikTok is not included in this statistical results here.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So after that, we would like to study the next information here. Yeah. So please read it and say something about that. But actually, the size of the population, not more than 20%, right? Yeah. Maybe they just have occupied a larger area, like Canada. Yeah. So, what's your opinion about this map? For this map, actually, English is not so prevalent in the world. A lot of area, actually, they don't speak English.
Yes.
People in other area, even in North America. You know, if you want to be the commander or the boss of all the crew, what kind of language should you speak for people in the US? Would you please try to guess? If you are in US and you are the commander of the crew, of the worker, okay? What language should you speak actually in US?
Spanish.
Not English. French?
Spanish.
Spanish, good. In America, actually, if you want to be the commander of all the crew, if you want to be the leader of the crew or the worker, you have to speak Spanish. Why? So would you please try to guess the name of California? The word California is actually originated from Spanish. San Jose, do you know a city, San Jose? Why it is called San Jose? Why J-O-S-E does not Josie or Jose? Why it is pronounced as Jose? San Jose, do you know this place? It's a city in California. According to the pronunciation rule for English, that should be San Jose or San Jose. But actually, that should be pronounced as San Jose or San Jose. Why? Jose in Spanish. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So a lot of places they got the name of Spanish in America. So if even you are in such kind of English is a native language in North America or in the US, you still have to speak Spanish in a lot of area in the US. Okay, even in a native area or a native nation. Now, after that, we would like to say this. So would you like to conduct this discussion here for United Nations? British English, but actually all the English used in IB textbooks is what? American or Oxford spelling?
I got lost. Well, as a Chinese speaker, I
Okay.
can't tell, right?
Yeah, Oxford spelling for international baccalaureate for the official document and also for the textbooks, they are all edited in Oxford spelling. Actually, I will give an example for you. For how do you read these two words? How do you read it?
哈利波特
In America, how do they read it?
Harry Potter
Harry
Potter
Potter. Right?
Oh
Oh,
Potter
in America, they just read it as Harry Potter. But actually, in British, in UK, how do they read it?
Harry Potter
Reminded.
Harry Potter
A for R, O for O. So read it.
Harry
Harry
Potter
Harry Potter. 这个地方不能太卷舌，要破，
Harry Potter
舌头要卷出去，所以要 Harry Potter. But actually, that's the difference between the British style and American style. Harry Potter and Harry Potter. Yeah, you just remember this example, it would help you to distinguish these two. And also, actually, for British style, it's much close to French. French. In German. Yeah.
Wow.
But that's not actually not important in your future course. So we just do a very good job to conduct this discussion. But actually what I show here, just want to remind you, these two languages, for us, we should be a little bit familiar but a little bit unfamiliar. Now, simplified Chinese and also British English. So please, you do need to pay attention to that part. My question is, how do you spell the word? How do you spell the word for the element, chemical element Al?
Aluminum
Aluminum, right? But actually, that's only for
America
North America.
Yes
Yeah. Most of the kids we need to. So yeah, aluminum, not aluminum, aluminum. So yeah. So not very important, but you should pay attention to that. That should be a little bit important for British style and American style, and also for several words for center. Remember that? Center.
Yes Yeah, I know that.
American and British. American style and British style. Yeah, that's a color. COLOUR is British style. COLOR is American style. Okay, yeah. So thank you very much, and thank especially the knowledges, moderator's contribution. Now, yeah, we would like to mention about this word. So, would you please help me to read it? How to read these two words?
Bilingual Franca
Use your Google Translate.
Lingua franca.
我冇想要这多少钱
对，来 lingua franca， 那就是美国人念法。lingua franca，right？美国人念法会念成 lingua franca， 但是如果是拉丁文或者是欧洲语系的外国音标发音法，他们会把 a 念成 r。Franca 是美国人念法 ，Franca 就是刚那样 Harry Potter， 然后但是欧陆语系包含法文、德文、英文，他们把 a 直接念成 r， 所以欧洲就直接念 lingua franca， 就差那么一点点 ，Franca 跟 Franca， 就让大家知道一下。所以你常常听到很多人念意大利文， 那一次他直念，那就因为他们本来就这样念的。对，比方说很简单的咖喱类哦，咖喱类，他也就直接这样念的。这就是他们的原先语言的习惯，就是这样。OK， 好，然后接下来 ，So how do you think about this slide? So actually, we got lingua franca French, but after 1920, for the reason of geopolitical 地缘政治学。For the geopolitical reason, actually, English is the most prevailing language, or another kind of lingua franca. Now, after 2000, for the internet, a lot of people around the world, they just contribute different kinds of languages now. So, if you ask me, can I have a precisely correct English? I would say no. No, we don't have the most standard, the most correct English now on the internet. Actually, not. But we still have to study a little more correct English. Why? Because we want to convince or to persuade or communicate with other people. So we still need to study English a little bit correct, a little bit more correct. Okay? But actually for this study, we do not have the most correct English. 有人讲过一句话，就说世界上面最风行的语言是什么语言？是这个。不要喜欢讲。Poor English。
OK。
这世界上面最风行的英语就是最风行的语言就是很烂的英语。事实是这样。就 for most of the case, actually, in the world, the most people we encounter should not be native speaker, right? Since they are not native speaker, they won't speak English very well. So most of the case, we just talk to non-native speaker for English. Okay, yeah. Then, for science, we also got our own lingua franca since 1897. Santiago Ramoni Caja. He just wrote a book for a young researcher. It just mentioned about you have to study several kinds of languages here. English should be the third place. But now, English should be the most prevailing language in the world. But actually, it's not all thing. Here, nature English, science English, text English, PRB English, LPR also English. But for this one, what language?
Spanish?
No. Would you please try to take a picture and ask ChatGPT? So would you, before you're looking up that, would you please try to check or try to guess what's the word for science? Chemistry, good. What language? What language?
German Chemical Society.
Yeah. German. Yes. Okay. So thank you very much. Actually, it tells us that even English is a kind of lingua franca now, but we still have other languages could be used for publishing important papers in the world now. So German should be a very good choice. But most of the case, more than 95% of SCI papers, they are published in English. So, according to this data, only 95% are published in English. Tells us what? Tells us that at least 4% of papers should be published in other languages. Okay? Not all the papers published in English. Not truly important. Okay, yeah. Next one. But why we need English? We got different reason for science, for scientists, or for other areas. So would you please try to guess what you want to say for international cooperation? Oh, that's observations, observatories, telescopes around the world. Okay, it's a cooperation plan, cooperation project for all the telescopes and all the observatories around the world. So would you please try to guess how can they conduct such kind of international cooperation? For astronomy, for astronomical observation. Why? Why they need to conduct an international cooperation? Why? So, who would like to answer that? Because we have day and night, and we got observatories in different places for astronomical observation. So why we need such kind of international cooperation? Why? Thank you. We need to observe a continuous phenomenon on some kind of specific astronomical object in the sky. But actually, when the Earth is rotating, so, well, some of the observatories would turn to some place in the day. So we have to, since we need to get the continuous data from such kind of astronomical object, so we have to conduct such kind of cooperation. So you will find that why we need English. So who would like to get the conclusion for it? According to this information, why we need English for science research? If I got the field of view, if I got observation field of view, and the object for Japan, okay, the object in Japan is located on the right side of my field of view. But actually, for the data of Taiwan, we got the object is in the middle of the field of view. After that, India, they just use that for the corner. Is that okay? We can use our telescope to observe any astronomical object in the sky, right? But actually, we can control our field of view to take the picture, to take the video. But if Japan, their object just located on the right side, but in Taiwan, just on the middle, and in India, that was located on the corner. So, is that okay? Or they have to try to get an identical formats for their observation would be better, right? We have to communicate with all the observatories that please try to take the picture and make sure that the specific object should be located on the center. That should be a kind of important communication, right? So the format, identical formats of our observation way or scale is also very important for, well, that should be the most important point for our international cooperation, right? Okay, yeah, so after that, look at this case. Do you know what's that? Okay, before that, please try to understand what is distributed computing. And would you please try to look up what is folding at home? Folding at home.
In my remember, it's to calculate
The
a
structure.
structure of some, I forgot, is it
Protein.
DNA or protein?
Protein.
Oh, yeah, to calculate the structure of a protein.
Protein or DNA.
Yeah. But the computing the scale is way too big, so they want to use every people's computer to do this job.
Yeah.
At my memory.
So any people in front of the screen and on the internet, as they are connected to the internet, they can get their computation energy to this falling at home data and try to help all the people to understand more about the structure of protein, right? That's just a kind of distributed computing. As I want to conduct this system, lingua franca is important. Is lingua franca important? For such kind of international cooperation. And what should be the role of lingua franca for such kind of international cooperation? For this case, which part is more important? Which part is more important? Language or program? Coding program?
Coding program.
Program. That should be a kind of portable program, right? Portable. Do you know what is portable?
No, 可以输出的吗？
Portable.
可携带的，
可携带。
然后很 portable。
Portable on any kind of platform should be a very important character for such kind of international collaboration. So actually, I just want to remind you, language should not be the most important point for international cooperation. For this case, portable platform should be the most important part, not English. English should be actually not so important prior to portable program. Okay, after that, we got the international education for students. So what's that? It's a way for international education. Yeah, I would like to announce that why we have this slide. 这是我们第一个作业。
哦。
但是呢，这不是你们要写的版本。
啊。
So you should use your English version. 这个作业不是写给我，是写给世界各地范围内的所有可能的专家。为什么要这样做？因为这个作业完成的 rubric 是什么？是对方确定有回信，你的这个作业才算完成，可以吗？你就把对方回信的那个信件不用转寄给我，你把它截图然后寄给我就好 ，OK 吗？
看一下我跟叶老师有什么。
一般的经验要寄30封才得到一个，然后呢要这样，就是那些举凡你已经认识的老师，你就不能问他，你要问他，比方说你要问叶老师，我没有意见，请问他，你就问他说，请问，你就不能问他潮汐型的原因是什么，你要问他说，请问，西方古典音乐的起源在中世纪的时候是从哪个地方开始的？老师可不可以帮我回答？之类，就是不要问他领域内的东西，就是总之就不要是因为你本来跟他很熟啊，然后上次 meeting 你没有讲清楚，问他说老师，那个上次你讲的可不可以讲清楚？就不要是这样做的。没有别的原因，是因为大家练习做这样的事情会给大家知道我们如何做一个 international education for our future students international mindedness， 就是好，我就这样，就是写给叶乃强是不被允许的，这样可以吗？好，就麻烦大家写。然后有几个注意的事情，如果你将来就是要往某个领域发展，请你不要问那个领域的问题，去那个领域问专家，原因是万一你激怒他了，以后你的人生跟前途就完蛋。所以假设你将来就是要做凝态物理啊，天文物理，那你就不要问天文物理的问题。你将来就是想要做凝态物理，就不要往凝态物理的老师钻，你就自己设计一个问题，这样可以吗？然后不要问这个问题，就不要只写一个问题而已。以这个情况为例，请你这样写，比方说潮汐如何形成的，这是标题没有问题。请你先分析一下这个问题，就是我问过海洋学家，他们是怎么讲；我又问过天文学家，他们是怎么讲，但两个是不一样的解答。 有观念上的冲突，请老师可不可以帮我做决定？因为我要跟各位说，那些人没有那么闲，他不会一天到晚想要回答这种问题，人家一看他就觉得是诈骗集团，请大家务必一定要切记。所以你稍微对那个问题做个分析，再请他来回答。第二个，麻烦一定要加这个签名档，一定要加。你不要留自己的电话，你留系上的电话，可以吗？就你不要把自己的电话就放上去，你把系上电话留上去，就留系上的联络，
我等陣有請你。
就留师大物理系的别人选就好，可以吗？那 email 当然没关系，反正他也不可能透过 email 过来杀你的。
email 是我的学号。
好，那你可以留其他的。好，那总之这个作业中间这段文字不知道怎么写，请用 GPT 修改。然后寄出去的时候，请 CC 给我，可以吗？我才知道你有寄啊 ，OK 吗？然后有一种回信不能当作业的最后结果，有一种回信是这样，像之前我学生寄给赤崎勇，大家知道赤崎勇是谁吗？
不知道。
蓝光 LED 的发明者，因为他们后来发财了，所以很有钱。他手底下的那些助理超级多，你发给他信之后，他助理会立刻回信给你说啊，那个某某先生，他现在正在世界各地演讲，所以他过几天再回信给你。这种回信不算回信，可以吗？然后还有一种老师，他的信箱有自己设定，就你寄给他，然后他那时候没办法回，他会电脑自动回给你 I am on traveling in the world， 这种也不能当做最后的结果，可以吗？平均大概寄30封会有1封回信，祝大家好运。That's our first assignment for all of you。对，我在师大物理系这个作业很久没有出了，所以世界范围内你觉得可以找的老师就记，但就是要自己想个方法来把这个作业完成。时间会给你们一段时间回去做，但是要让大家知道这件事情其实有一个很大的功用，就如果将来的学生，你让他做这个作业，是让他觉得他只要有一根网路线，他就可以跟世界所有的人或聪明智慧脑袋接得上线，他就不会觉得自己自外于这个世界当中。就算他住在深山里面，他只要有网路线，他就可以让自己真的可以国际化。这个其实非常重要，要不然现在每次中小学做国际都在干嘛？都把学生带出国去玩一玩，然后再带回来，不然就让国外的人进来，然后大家互相交流，问候一下对方。可实际上这样的东西没有办法真的很深化，而且其实你事实上你本来就有很多方法可以跟大家接得上线，这是一招。然后如果真的作业真做了，还是没有成果，我再跟各位宣布有另外一个方法可以促进让他更快回给你答案。但我并不打算今天跟大家讲，就这个方法。
好，真的。
跟他要 paper 一定会成功率特别高的。对，要 paper 他一定会给你，我没骗你。就以前那有什么大英博物馆的那些纳米光学研究啊，我们也都没办法下载啊。我就直接写给作者，他立刻就寄来，而且是你看得出来是急忙忙的，20分钟之内就会回给你，因为他希望有更多的人看他的论文，才可以引用它，这样他的 H index 才会变好。That's all. OK。第一个作业，请大家务必要记得，要记得回去写。当然写的对象也不见得一定要是尽量写给大学教授，因为不是大学教授，他们 email 也大部分都不会公开。好吧，这个作业要记得。我们今天 class dismiss。